Hello, it's me, Jess. Welcome to my channel. I'm here with another channeled message. This is a specific message. It might resonate with you, it might not. All right, so whoever this message is for, I feel like your past is really holding on to you, just really gripping onto you, refusing to let go. And you feel this. I think you feel this kind of on a day-to-day basis. I think you feel it energetically. I think it comes up in the tarot readings. And it's because there's almost this obsession with your energy. There's this preoccupation with your energy. I feel like these people this feels like multiple people to me are really watching you and really observing you. And I think that you're getting frustrated, and I think you're really over it, to be honest. And I think you're also confused as to why this energy kind of creeps up, because I think that you're showing up as like a strong individual to me, like a very individual person. I don't think you like codependency. I think if you start to recognize that you're in a codependent dynamic, I think you start to kind of work through that. And I think that you've done a lot of shadow work in relation to this. I think that you've learned a lot about this particular situation. And I think you've done a lot of that deep diving, and you have decided that you want fresh energy. You're trying to move on. You're cutting cords. You probably have done cord cutting rituals, and you're continuing to do these cord cutting rituals. So this message is coming through to just kind of explain on the back end, I think, why that is happening, because I feel like you are connected to this group in some way on a soul level, but it has to do with like mission energy, and that's come through here before. And it could be somewhat karmic, because you may have had something about your own karmic lessons as a person could have contributed or assisted in the formation or the sustaining ability of this group. And I think for some of you, this is like a personable nature that you have, where you're really good at building bridges here between people, and maybe this feels like being overly nice or conciliatory, like, oh, I'm sure they didn't mean it, or something like that. And in doing that in the past, I think it's kind of contributed to, like I said, the formation or the sustainability of this like very negative group. Now, this group from your past, this could be family, this could be a friend group, this could be a friend group that says that it's family. I'm really getting moon energy from this group. And for some reason too, I associate moon energy with like the hospitality industry or like hospitality. So this could be maybe you always meet up with this group at a hotel or at a restaurant, and this could be like reunion energy where you guys always get together at a certain restaurant. Maybe you worked at a certain restaurant or a hotel or something here like that, but it could be something like that as well, where you met this particular group. But this is a very negative group. And like I said, it's represented by moon energy. Now, we've picked up on this a lot, and I'm really getting like a strong secrecy energy from this group. There's a cyclical energy here. There's this kind of dark side of the moon. And I think the major karmic cycle here, the major karmic pattern played off of you and your energy. Because again, you're showing up here as an independent person, and I'm actually seeing the Virgin card in one of my archetypes deck, which Virgin is a very loaded word. So this could have been back from like when you were really young. It could have had to do with that, but Virgin originally just meant like young unmarried woman. So whoever you are, you could fit into one of those categories: young unmarried woman, or any combination of those. And I feel like there's like I just heard presumption of innocence, like is something that's kind of going on here. But this group is built on secrets. And I feel like each person in this group may be kept a secret from you. They're reflecting what they want to, right? Because there's that dark side of the moon energy where the moon, you can see half of it, and you can even see the full half of it sometimes, but you never see the whole thing. And I feel like this group is full of people like that, but also this is a group that keeps secrets from each other. Like I said, it's a very karmic group, and I feel like there's karmic cycles that play out here within this group. And basically, on a spiritual level, I feel like spirit, I feel like God above, you know what I'm saying? Actually, it feels more like spirit guide energy. I'm seeing the Exorcist card now from that same deck. They was wanting to exorcise this group like of its demons, but the shadow attribute of that, it's something like being afraid to face your own demons. And I feel like, again, that's what this group has in common. And that's why there's a strong codependent flavor to this group, where they kind of use each other to avoid facing their demons. And I feel like this came out in another reading recently. Like, part of how they do that is they focus on on some kind of like humor energy, and it is inappropriate. They try to kind of make each other laugh with this like secretive energy, and they do that in order to avoid seeing the truth of this situation, which is that I feel like you in this situation, and potentially others, but there's somebody here, and again, I think it's this kind of like I said, Virgin energy that I'm picking up on, that was really hurt in this, but it's not a superficial hurt. There's an energy here of being afraid of intimacy. And I think, so going back to this original mission that I think comes from a spirit guide, could be your spirit guide, or maybe you all share a spirit guide, I don't know, but is wanting to destroy this group, basically wanting to break this group up. So that plays into the amends factor. Like, what is forgiveness in this situation? What is the karmic learning? How do you heal this situation? And I feel like that's kind of what this group is working through now. And so if you're feeling this energy strong right now, and I feel like this is, again, there's something cyclical. It kind of comes in phases. So I feel like this group was not reaching out to you. This group was not pulling on your energy before. They were not trying to make things right before. They kind of went dark. And that's when you were really working through your issues. So then you cut ties with this group, or you've made your peace with this, you've made your amends, and now all of a sudden you feel this pulling. And it's because something about that has sparked this group to realize, I feel like at the current stage of the process that's unfolding here, this group is finally just now starting to realize that they were in the wrong, or at least several members of this group are starting to realize that, and they really didn't know in the past because of the pattern that plays out within this group, which is, like I said, they focus on some kind of, it's the moon energy, so it's like focusing on where the light is. It could be focusing on partying, because the moon, to me, it's like contrasted to the sun, just as it is in so many spiritual traditions and where we get our mythology and our lore. Like the moon rules over like that, the darkness, the sin kind of energy. And so I feel like there's that. They focus on sinning is what I'm hearing, like error. To sin means to error. So something like that. Or again, partying energy. It's that the darkness, the obscuration versus the sun energy that illuminates certain things and has a unifying philosophy. So I feel like there's quite a bit of hypocrisy here. But they can focus maybe on glamour. They could focus on just what they want to show and what they want to see from each other. But again, there's this focusing on humor, and it's a perverse humor. So they behave in this way, and then they try to laugh it off like it's lightweight energy or that it's funny. So they try to make each other laugh with that, and it's so that they can remain in denial about the truth of what's actually gone on here. And this truth is what is being exhumed, kind of like a splinter being worked out like within this group and for certain people right now. And they're at the stage where they can admit that they've done wrong. And so now I think there's some maybe discussion between members of this group or something about, okay, well, how do we make amends? How do we make right? And that's why you're feeling this group's energy. And I'm seeing the word mediator in my mind. I think they do want to send in a mediator. But this person who was wronged, which again, I feel like is you have this fear of intimate union, and you're trying to protect yourself. And this is like the deeper wound. And you're really, really wary of accepting some kind of anything to do with a mediator to do with this group, because this is a group that has proven their internal weakness in the past. They've proven their sneakiness. They've proven that they're very adept, totally willing to lie and obscure whenever it suits them. And I do feel somebody here from this group in general just has this energy of negotiating with like an ulterior motive or some kind of hidden agenda. And that's what, there's a deeper wound here of you being afraid of intimate union. And I feel like this group has to confront that. And that's a part of breaking apart what they are laughing at and saying, oh my gosh, like we're just so funny. Like, oh my gosh, this is like so not a big deal. It's a huge deal. This is a deep scar, something that you are probably going to be affected by and working through in little different ways, because this is the kind of thing where it's like, yeah, you have to wrestle yourself away from this, which I think a lot of you have done. And you probably know that you're at the next stage in your own healing journey. It is not insane, and it is not unheard of for somebody to need to get away from their abusers in order to finally relax enough to heal. And I feel like you still have a road ahead of you in healing this, because you're still afraid of intimate union. You're afraid of trusting people and opening up. And these people need to see that, actually. They need to see that it's not just fun and games and no ha ha ha. This is actually serious stuff. And they can't bridge the gap this way. They burnt the bridge here between the two of you. So, or like the group of you or whatever. And I really think that potentially whoever's leading the charge is super obsessed with you and like definitely watching you and definitely has some kind of ulterior motive, or maybe has maybe a habit of this, weaseling their way in to try to mediate situations, and it's a power move. And I think you're right not to trust this group of people. But the reason why I'm bringing this up, the reason why let me just say, the other thing that I think they destroyed in you is a delight in serving others with a free and loving heart. I don't think that it's destroyed. I think that you're a strong person, but you're wary now. And so like whenever you go to serve people, I think now you have to kind of think twice. Whereas before, it's like you would have just maybe walked right up to somebody and given them your extra change or something. Now you're wary. And so it's put a damper in that. That's huge. And that has like a ripple effect kind of energy. This isn't lightweight energy. It's not funny. And spirit is insistent that this group falls apart. Now, what I think went on here on a spiritual level, I really think that I'm hearing your guide expected you to do this, but it feels very cooperative, like you knew that you were going to do this and you had been prepared and prepped for this. Because again, I think karmically speaking, you may have, for some of you, there's that guide in training energy. And maybe when you were this guide in training, you nurtured some qualities in this group or in certain individuals in this group that you didn't mean to, and you didn't know that you were. And it was because you were trying to be overly nice or overly empathetic. And so you didn't put your foot down where you should have. And it caused some kind of maybe narcissistic quality to go unchecked, or I don't know, something here like this. So I just feel like karmically speaking, you agreed to, or there's some kind of maybe karmic reason why you're a part of the destruction of this group, which is it needs to occur for healing and for a lot of people actually in this situation to start getting their justice. And you're the one to kind of kick it off. And the way that I'm seeing this in my mind, remember Guardians of the Galaxy? And I'm pretty sure, well, I think he was in a lot of them, but Peter Quill was the main character, right? And it was one of the Chris's plays him, not Chris Pine, Chris Pratt that played that character. You know, his adoptive dad, he was blue, and he had that thing on, like that mohawk thing on the top of his head, and it had the arrow in it, and he would whistle, and the arrow, he could send it through like so many people to just end everybody quickly, you know? I'm seeing that, like I'm seeing the spirit guide being the one that wears that metal thing, and I'm seeing that you are the arrow. If you're this person that I think I'm talking to in this reading, and your spirit guide is whistling and kind of dragging you through, not through people is what I'm getting, but I'm seeing almost like a nebula looking thing. And that is the soul group here. These gnarly, nasty, karmic soul groups that spirit is saying, enough is enough. We've got to break this apart because it's just leading to injustice. And this group just is codependent, and they distract by labeling very serious energies lighthearted energies. And so it keeps them in a state of denial and delusion, not only about their own behavior first and foremost, which is terrible karmically. Like you've got to be able to pull yourself out of that karmic cycle. They can't do it when they're around each other, because this group, the way that they interact, it's a moon-like quality of, I keep certain things hidden. I show you what you want to see. I pretend something is glamorous. It might be like kind of night partying energy where people are literally taking their consciousness under in a regular sort of way. It's just indulging this kind of behavior that it has a negative effect on everybody. And so you are the person, you are that kind of healing arrow that's like going through. And I feel like that's what you signed up to do in this lifetime. You needed to go through this group and not stay in it. I feel like you needed to navigate your way through. And some of you, this is like past life energy that you'd bumped up against. You were trying to navigate your way through, and then they're really negative. Like some of these groups, because some of you've been through more than one, and some of these groups are extremely negative, and you could have ended, you know, because they're determined to preserve the lie and the denial and the delusion of themselves, of this group of something that they're partaking in together. You know, they're determined to do that. So, but I feel like you've had success in this life, and you're ready for this to kind of start healing up. Well, it's because of this mission energy that I feel like you're still attached to it, because this group needs to fall apart. That's the ultimate goal of everything that you've been through, is to break up this wound. And I'm seeing the arrow that is you, and I'm seeing every single side of it. It's mirror. I'm just seeing it's a mirror, like sharp, multi-sided mirror. And that's the energy that you are. And that's what's being brought through this. So it shows an advancement in this group's energy that they have been able to reflect, again, via your energy, because you're this arrow, but you're this mirrored arrow, right? So they've started to understand that they themselves were in the wrong. But these people also, this group will break up when they start to see other people, because I'm hearing they lied. Like they have to realize that other people in this group were also lying about their emotions. They were lying about who they are. They were lying about something else, and they will naturally move away, because what I'm getting is that this group doesn't understand that they cannot make amends with you as a group, nor are they expected to. I don't really even think you want to hear from this group. I don't think you want their amends, because you are now afraid of them, and they did that. That's the scar that they kind of like put in you or nursed in you, instead of showing that it's okay to trust and whatever, and that you can be intimate, because again, that's that moon energy. So they could try to come off as very nurturing or very but ew. And so that's not the healing energy. And I think this group can be very like, I think they're younger souls. So this is a nuanced energy healing, right? And if it sounds great, mediation, right? It sounds great, apology. Nobody is obligated to accept their apology. And you're certainly not expected to accept an apology of someone who has harmed you in some kind of way. And especially not before you've healed yourself. There's so much that has to kind of come into consideration. And this group kind of feels very not nuanced, like not deep thinkers. They're not very reflective of that yet. This is the process that they're being kind of initiated into is, well, look again, actually. And I think, so this is a poor plan. And that's why you're feeling them tug on your energy right now, is because this sort of plan is going on. Because there's been a realization, there's been a reality check, there's been some kind of like, wait a second, we're losers, or wait a second, like we shouldn't have done this. That has occurred. And it's been like a light switched on. And so instead of sitting in that and reflecting and going the way that it needs to go, they want to reach out to you. And it's kind of a selfish impulse. They don't want to feel bad anymore. And they feel like they need your absolution. They feel like they need your forgiveness. But these people have to change. They have to become someone different. And that's how they obtain your forgiveness. And they need to give you space to heal. But these people have not, they haven't learned that yet. And I think, so they're all kind of united in this, but they're still all like hiding secrets from each other. And I'm just heard they're still all liars. Like they haven't kind of gotten to the root of that. And it doesn't necessarily have to mean that they're trying to be, I think it's just selfishness, like not all liars are trying to harm for the sake of harming to get their rocks off over it. There certainly could be some of those people in this group, but they lie to cover their own tracks. They lie to stay in denial and about who they are or a fantasy that they want to believe. And that's what this group has done. And so it's very negative. And that's what I'm getting is that this hold that this group has like on you, or they're trying to pull you back, it's disrespectful. It's because they don't know what they're doing. They don't know that they're having that effect on you and that they need to stop doing it. And they don't know that the purpose of all of this is so they can wake up to each other. Because I don't know that you are naturally a part of this group. I think you're working on behalf of like your guide or something, and like you're coming up through it, and this group, it's like coming right up through the middle of like a donut, like you're the hole in the middle of a donut, but then I'm seeing the rest of that donut energy kind of just like breaking apart because the center of it is missing. That inner spoke is like missing. And I feel like that's kind of what's going on here. And that's what you have done, your energy. And it's just the process is still unfolding. So it's really nothing that you did wrong. But this, I think for you, tips over into other spiritual lessons. Because now I'm hearing the serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. You might be, because I think you've done something here like that you can change. You've learned how to do that, or you've cooperated with a universal process in that regard. And there might be something that you can't change. And now they're showing me weightlifting because, I'm seeing like race car drivers, like the G forces that are on those people. It's like absolutely insane. So they have to do certain exercises, especially for their necks, to where like they have to build up their neck to be able to withstand the G forces. I feel like that's what you're doing with this gravity. It is like, when you're weightlifting, you're learning how to pull against gravity, right? You're using against gravity. You're learning your own strength. So yeah, it might feel frustrating, but don't tell yourself that you're not healing or that it's pointless or that you're stagnant. You're only stagnant if you want to be. But when you can't move, I just heard if you're lost outside, look inside to your soul. If you can't move externally, it's because your guides are wanting you to move internally. And they're showing me mastery of the sage is and they're showing me deep acceptance here as well. And I'm going to say it again. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. You're not stagnant. You're not being punished. You're not in a holding pattern. You're a spirit guide. I heard you're being a spirit guide. And sometimes you sit in it. Sometimes you have to sit in it because your job is to be the mirror, and you're not expected to be around these people or interact with them in any way. I think you're learning how to protect your energy. I think you're learning how to manage your energy with people kind of pulling on it. And I'm not saying it's going to be these souls or whatever, but that's the taste that you're getting. And some of you are trying to decide if you want to be a spirit guide or not. And they're giving you this kind of, this taste of it is that your energy kind of belongs to the collective in a way that you're not used to. So some of you're having this kind of experience to see if this is something that you want to do in the future, and you're doing it on behalf of your guide as a way of repaying and saying thank you for all the lessons you've learned. You're offering yourself as a mirror to these groups, and you're also because I think they needed a stronger soul, somebody who could kind of withstand this, or this is it lined up perfectly with a karmic lesson that you are learning about how to withstand and hold your own individuality as you go through like negative groups or something. So it's only, I'm hearing the word perspective. It's only stagnant if you think it's stagnant. Don't say because you're not moving in the way that you want to move or you think that you should be moving that there's nothing happening here. Okay, this is about like that spiritual perspective, and you are building up some type of muscle, and it's not going to last forever. And I feel like the reason you're feeling this energy pull on you is because this group has actually bossed up and leveled up, but you're leading the way. So you had done your processing, and I feel like you were like, you know what, this is crap, or I realized that you're hiding this or that you're hiding that. That was the part of your cycle where you're building up intuition and where people don't get away with lying to you, basically. You're kind of recognizing deceit, sort of. So you've gone through that, you processed through that, which has led you to, your energy has naturally fallen away from these other people's, like just naturally it has done that, which has then now had an effect on these people. But this is the process playing out as the spirit guide kind of needed. And you've done a great service is what I'm hearing. And it's healthy for these groups to disband, to lose their faith in each other. And that sparks, I'm hearing the teacher is the first student. So it's like you learned this, and now these other people are having to learn this as well. Because now you've just left the mirror in the center, kind of, that mirroring energy, your energy signature, the things that they went through with you. It's reflecting back who they are and who the people around them are actually. And I'm hearing they lied. They have to realize that the people that they've surrounded themselves with are liars. And that this isn't glamour. I think that's what you had to realize about this group, is that it's not what it seems. And that's what these people now have to realize about certain of these other people that they were involved with. And they can end their own karmic cycles here, because it's a very karmic group. So anyways, if you're feeling that pull, that's why. It doesn't mean that you're backtracking. It doesn't mean that you're backsliding. It doesn't mean that you're not making progress. I think you've made quite a bit of progress. I think this is kind of a new chapter where you're learning how to hold your own in the world and having people pull on your energy a bit, and how to find your equilibrium now. You're learning how to lift 10 pounds now that you've learned how to lift 5 in a way, and finding your comfort with that. And you are headed to a new chapter. You are. And I do think Spirit's heading these people off. I don't think, you don't owe them anything. You don't owe them a conversation. If they reach out, you're free to ignore them. You're free to block them. This is, again, you just mirroring that the way to make amends, that's what these people are learning as well. The way to make amends is not to reach out to you. The way to make amends is to change their behavior. And when you know better, you do better. And if these people truly know better, this group will no longer exist. They won't have an interest in each other. None of these people, all of these people are meant to go their separate ways here. Every single last one of them. So if that's not happened, then they truly don't know better yet. And this is a process that they will all kind of have to go through. And as that happens, it's going to pull on your energy less and less. Or you're just going to, there can be quite a bit about acceptance that helps you kind of break away or move away from this here as well. But that's why. It's because this group, there's an exorcist impulse here. They had a fear facing their own demons, but you've been that light that kind of, I'm seeing an arrow of light, I'm seeing an arrow, a mirrored arrow, and you're helping to free yourself and others of destructive impulses. And they are one and the same, because I feel like you going through this freed yourself of destructive impulses first and foremost. Like I said, it feels like you're the first student here. It feels like you're leading the way here. And now it's these people's turn to free themselves of destructive impulses. And when they do that, just like you naturally kind of, when you realized what you were dealing with here, you naturally moved. You were like, I don't want it. No. It's not, this group is not supposed to stay together. They don't really have anything in common except for the negative things. This is a group that in some way bonds on some kind of negative energy. They feed off of it. And then they make it, I'm going back to the humor energy. They make light of something destructive. They make light of trauma. They make light of something like that. And that's, I feel like the last thing that your energy has to mirror to them is, great, thanks. Now I have a fear of intimacy that doesn't go away overnight, or, you're intoxicated with destructive power and you're trying to destroy someone's dreams or potential. And that's not lightweight. It's not funny. Weirdos laugh at stuff like that. And I kind of think that these people should probably, I think they could really do with some therapy. Talking this out, I do feel somebody here could be like a full-blown narc, and the rest of the people probably need therapy as to why they flying monkey for a narc, or like how they got wrapped up into that. And yeah. And some of them may use lack of money as an excuse not to move forward. Again, there's a strong codependency energy, but they got to break the cycle. And that's the only way they can be truly liberated from this. And I think some of you have shown these people how to do that, how to do just that. And I think it's in part because you delight in serving others with a free and loving heart. And I think that energy was made fun of or misconstrued in you as some kind of destructive energy, or you became a target for that. Yeah. So anyways, that's what I have for you guys. If that resonates, please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Bye.